And the lead down into turn 1 will be this man, Britain's James Thompson. He starts from the DHL pole. 10th fastest in the second period of qualifying. His aim always was to try and get onto the front row of the grid and stop being the only one in the team who's yet to win a race. Don't forget, there are only we are only 4 race weekends in. Jan Eilesche won yesterday for the second time. Teammate Esteban Guerrieri also won. This is Thompson's chance with Colt alongside him. Oriola and Bernardi behind will offer a challenge, no question. So too will his teammates, Eilesche and Guerrieri, if they can get a good start. Fredrik Vervish with hopefully this time fully operational drive shafts ahead of Gordon Shedden, while Rob Huff and John Philippi round out the top 10. Audi's on row 6 of the grid. Teammates Aurélien Panis and Denis Dupont ahead of Benjamin Lecen and Nathaniel Berton in his Audi. The Alphas on row 8. Gianni Morbidelli behind Fabrizio Giovanardi, but ahead of Ivan Muller and Ted Björk. It's a YMR row 9, and on row 10 of the grid, Matteo Homolo's Peugeot ahead of Gabriele Tarquini's Hyundai. Daniel Nagy, Norbert Nagy rather, behind with Tom Coronel down in 22nd, ahead of Prince Bernhard von Oranje, Zolt Szabo, Michael Verhagen, the other wild card, and the penalised Norbert Mikulits. John Calverne's car is in the pit lane, and he didn't show much sign of getting into it. He doesn't have to start the race, and he's not likely to earn any points, even if he did go onto the grid.
Does he not have to start the race in the regulations?
Doesn't have to start the race. Nobody says you have to race. Nobody says you have to go out in qualifying. If you don't go out in qualifying, you might be in trouble arguing about being allowed to start the race.
Martin, you know, there's been debates about World Touring cars going to TCR regulations, but you just have to look at that grid in front of you, and that really, that speaks it all, doesn't it?
It's healthy. There's 25 full season entries, the ability to add up to a couple of wild cards at each event, and that's been a real boost as well. To the Hungarian crowd, to the Dutch here, they've got 2 more Dutch racing drivers in the field, which is excellent.
People want to see wild cards, which in yesteryears it couldn't happen in World Touring because they used to get big weight penalties when they were coming in, so they couldn't compete. But that's what people loved Superbikes and World Superbikes about, bringing in the wild cards and seeing how they can do on the home soil, and that's fantastic that it's now happening, and with TCR and with WTCR. Yeah,
absolutely right. And a real first, the first ever wild card from a reigning royal family, as far as I'm aware. I stand to be corrected. Well, let's hear from Ted Björk.
So I will use map 3 and see if I can outrun Ivan in the north. Okay, Ted, copy that. Be an interesting test.
Excellent. Well, we'll find out what happens then. Hopefully, he'll manage to get by Ivan without them having a crash, and Ivan going
interesting. He was talking about engine maps there, so they're obviously trying a different strategy in both cars. Whether it's the way it can all depends on the programming they're putting in there, but it can be the way the boost's coming in, how aggressive it is, or whether he wants to try and get the power down so it can soften the map early on.
Yes, throttle pickup or torque curve, or extending the top end. Exactly.
Myriad of things, but interesting. They're trying 2 different strategies with the cars. So Ted's obviously knows really a podium finish is not on today.
No.
So let's try and see whether we can optimise the car a bit more.
Well, for the man there with the grey hair in the headset, second from your right, Eric Neve, a real opportunity here. Aurélien Comte from 7th on the grid, which was already a good qualifying spot in what is pretty much the newest of the TCR cars. Certainly had a slightly shorter gestation than the Hyundai i30. He had a great run down into 2nd place yesterday with a big
opportunity for the first 4 in this, Martin. The first 4 non-win a race this year.
Yep.
I mean, having a quick fight, quite sort of average year so far. So as it is hard to overtake around here, it's Venet's.
Well, Venet's decided he's going to go round for 1 lap and see what it's like. I feel actually it's highly likely he'll then pull into the pits just as a systems check.
Good bit of pressure on these first 4 because they got quite a fast band of.
Well, they've got 2 race winners in those 2 Hondas from Munich Motorsport right behind, haven't they?
Eilesche, Guerrieri, Burfish is fast, Flash is fast, Huff is on fire around here. He could have been on pole for both of them. Never mind Vernet. So that's 4 fast cars coming at them. Very, very quickly.
And for Aurélien Comte and DG Sport with the Peugeot, as well as for James Thompson and Munich Motor. I mean, Dominic Greiner's on the podium at almost every given opportunity. He's like the classic wedding crasher. He is always there, it seems, because they've had so much success so far this year with Munich Motorsport. And if Tomo could get a win out of this, reverse grid or otherwise, he said, you know, there are 30 races, 3 every weekend. They're all there to be won.
If you're on that big wheel at the side of the grid, you're getting a cracking view of the start, aren't you?
Aren't you just?
I need to put the observers on for the jump starts on there. Whoever's on the bottom can go for it. That's probably what happened yesterday, wasn't it?
And they were probably in a beer tent somewhere. So let's form up our grid. The Hyundais, Ted Björk ahead of Gabriele Tarquini. Now, normally they'd be 20 cars further up the order, but the balance of power has definitely changed. Tom Coronel comes to a halt in 22nd spot. There in the brown jacket is James Thompson's wife, Zoe, hoping for the best here. The green flag waves at the back of the field. 26 cars are present, 1 in the pit lane. Not a long hold this time, not a great start from James Thompson. Strong start from Aurélien Comte, Mehdi Benani and Pepe Oriola. Look at Air Lachey, he's already trying to go around the outside. Aurélien Comte has the lead. James Thompson tucks in behind him into 2nd place. Now at the start, at the restarts yesterday, at all 3 getaways, the Peugeot picked up very quickly indeed. It's quick off the grid, it's quick from a restart. Shedden with Guerrieri right in front of Rob Huff. Little bumping and boring, so Esteban Guerrieri got shuffled down the order again, and Gordon Shedden has moved up a little. He made it through to Q3. Gabriele Tarquini coming, oh no, it's Norbert Michels coming through last, not Tarquini. And there with the white nose, Nat Berton going past Benjamin Lessen, so he picks up a place. They started 14th Berton and 13th Lessen. And Oriola is all over the back of James Thompson for 2nd at the moment. Frederick Vervisch behind Rob Huff. There's Vervisch with the blue flashes. And then John Philippi and Denis Dupont. Well, it was a clean start. I don't know if Jean-Carl Vernet has joined in at the back. We'll find out very soon, but right in the middle of it.
Going for the inside line, but
on Ivar Muller, well, that'll start a rant if anything happens there.
I don't think Thompson got a bad start. Comte, I almost suspect he did jump it. He looked very fast out the blocks.
There was questions about his start yesterday as well. Whatever else the Peugeot does do, clearly it gets off the line well.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy got the Honda away badly. It's just, I just thought Comte, it'd be nice to have another look at that again, because he was almost too quick out the blocks.
Well, we may do. If there is questions over his start, if there's to be an investigation, then we will definitely see the video replay again. Comte leads for Peugeot. Thompson 2nd in the Honda, which is quick here. And Oriola has slipped back into the clutches of Air Lachey. And that's a good start from Jan Air Lachey, up from 6th on the grid, 5th on the grid. On board in the Audi of Gordon Shedden. Mehdi Benani right in front of him in the Golf. And Pepe Oriola is the stopper in the bottle at the moment, ahead of Air Lachey, Benani, Shedden, then a little gap back to Esteban Guerrieri, who's shaken off Rob Huff a little. Yeah, Guerrieri is close. Oh, trouble behind. Yeah. Huff and Vervisch, I think Vervisch has gone through. No, he hasn't, but they were 2 wide, or maybe even 3 wide behind. Huff keeps his nose in front, and Vervisch under pressure from John Philippi, who has come alive here. And in the background, Gordon Shedden having a little sniff up here to Skyflak inside Mehdi Benani's rear wheel arch, couldn't get through.
Flash Conifers get himself in a good position for the run onto the start-finish straight, so he can use the slippiness of that Audi, see if he can get a good slipstream off the VW at the start-finish straight.
Well, he followed Rob Huff all the way through yesterday's race, and he was always close here to the Golf, but by the time they got to the final corner, the Golf had stretched out 2 or 3 car lengths. It's good. I mean, we saw Rob Huff got a purple sector in Sector 2 in qualifying. He was the fastest man through Sector 2. Little further back. Ooh, big moment, Rob Huff and Vervisch, and Huffy somehow got back down the inside into Hugenholtz.
Was that a jump? Oh, and then...
yeah, he got another nudge there.
John Philippi paying him back, Vervisch back for Huffy.
Well, that's the scene of yesterday's dramas between Norbert Michels and Ivar Muller. And Huffy...
Now, Shedden's big moment right on the tail of Benani.
Yeah, let's see how he fares.
Probably one of his best opportunities.
Ooh. We saw Guerrieri pulling out behind, and Bernani goes very defensive very early. El Haché looking for third, and Mehdi Bernani just hanging on in front of Gordon Shedden. So Aurélien Comte, the leader, from James Thompson, then Pepe Oriola and Yann El Haché. We're behind with Shedden and Bernani. So you've got Comte leading from Thompson by about half a second, then Oriola with El Haché all over him, Bernani with Shedden all over him, then Guerrieri, and more dust goes up, and that is Matto Homola, Tom Coronel, the yellow car, and in front of them 48, that is Ivar Muller. That's 18th, 19th and 20th, or 18th and 17th and 18th now, because Ivar Muller and Tom Coronel have both gone by Matto Homola, who was 17th behind the two Alphas. So it's all arms and elbows. This is only race 2. We've got another one to go, Matt.
Yeah, it's close racing so far, isn't it?
It is.
The BOP does seem to be working. We've got a complete mix up and down the grid. Okay, the Hyundais are struggling at the moment, but as I said before, I think they've been paid back for their dominance earlier on. They
had 3 free weekends of points hoovering up, so they will pay the price for that at some stage. Gordon Shedden chasing Mehdi Bernani again. Look, trying to close in on the second half of the lap because he can't get close enough. The straight's not quite long enough for where he needs to be.
Enough, isn't it? I mean, Bernani goes tight and just goes defensive.
Now, but he's closer this time, much closer than he ever was to Huff coming out of the Audi S's. So looking back from Bernani, and from that last apex here, all the way through the Ira Lyndike corner, that is flat out fast motoring. My wife Gillian there at the far side watching Gordon, and here he goes, not quite close enough. The Volkswagen picks up faster off the corners than the Audi. Oriola defending hard again against El Haché, who doesn't fancy going around the outside. Clearly these boys
get driven off the side of the road, which will be Flash's problem behind Bernani. Bernani's just going defensive, sitting tight and stroking it around the inside.
That can't work all the way. These guys obviously haven't seen enough races here at Zandvoort. You can just brave it out around the outside.
Flash's problem, he's obviously got Guerrieri coming into the picture frame now. So.
Guerrieri is creeping up behind Gordon Shedden in the battle with Mehdi Bernani. And El Haché has dropped back a little from Oriola this lap. I wonder whether... Oh no, that was Comte and Thompson, wasn't it? El Haché has not dropped back that much from Oriola.
It'd be nice to see if Shedden can leapfrog Bernani. I think he's got pace in that Audi to take the fight up the road to El Haché.
Yeah.
He just seems to be held up. He's quick in the wrong places at the moment.
Yes. It's that early part of the straight where the Golf just gets that length or two that it needs to survive. That's exactly what we saw from Rob Huff yesterday. But if he gets Bernani under pressure, then the chances of fumbling his way through are always there. Down into the Audi S's.
Shedden glued to his rear bumper at the moment.
Yeah. And El Haché again. Look how much tighter inside line El Haché can run than Oriola. Oriola doesn't need to. He wants to be in the middle of the road, keeping up his momentum. Oriola in third as they come down the straight again. El Haché pulls out of the slipstream early. I wonder if he's got a temperature worry. And then Bernani moves over to defend and moves back, and now Flash launches it to the inside. He came down the inside of Rob Huff here yesterday, puts the pressure on Bernani, but Bernani doesn't quite drift out far enough. But that's exactly what he needs to do. And now with Guerrieri behind him, Shedden has to be very cautious about having a lunge that doesn't work, because Guerrieri will be passed like a rat up a drainpipe.
This program is presented by Oscaro.com. Quality auto parts online.
So safety car is out, and the car of Fabrizio Giovanardi. Well, he's not going to be able to fix that there, but having a quick squeeze under the bonnet just to see if there's anything useful he can tell the team, because of course there's only 15 minutes repair time after race 2 before race 3. there's a fair amount of actual time, but only 15 minutes in the couple of hours between the races that you're allowed to work on the cars. So they will want to be able to have anything ready that they need. So if there's a cooler split or a hose leaking or some oil coming out from somewhere, if he can go back to the pits, Matt, and tell them what he's seen, then they will be prepared and getting ready to fix what needs fixing,
yeah,
hopefully.
That's right, exactly. They just give them a bit more intel so they can prepare the tools they need, prepare the spare parts they need. So
Copy that. That's what it looks like. You've got some pace there, but it is hard to pass. So stick with it. Keep the tyres under you. We'll have a go at the last 3 laps or so.
He's stuck, isn't he? He's got the pace in that Audi. He just needs to free himself from Bernani, and then he can get on with the race.
Ariane Panis's Audi coming back in. Oh,
why don't they just pull it off? They're making a meal of this.
Yeah, well, because it was by Tarzan, they've got to get it round to the back of the pits down at Hugenholz into the back of the Parc Ferme area. That's the closest place to put it.
So they're going to do the same for Gianardi as well?
No, he's behind the barriers already. So, but that means that the team now can't get to Giovanardi's car, or he can't get it to the team to work on it during the race. Whereas if Panis's goes into Parc Ferme, they won't be able to work on it either. Safety car will come in this lap. And so lights will go off at the end of timing sector 2, which is on the run down to the Audi S. Sector 2 is very short, actually. It's just the 3 tight, twisty corners after Sky Flak and before the Audi S. But that's where the Volkswagen Golf seems to have the advantage on everybody else.
Well, Huffy's does.
Well, Bernani's can ease away from Flash there as well a little. Now then,
Bernani seems to get a good punch onto the start-finish straight. That seems where, you know, Flash gets right up his tail, even in through the last turn 15, and then he just seems to be able to punch enough hole in the air to gap him to break the slipstream.
Yesterday, after the safety cars and after our safety car restart from the red flag, Aurélien Comte was second behind eventual winner Jan Erlache's Honda, so the identical car to James Thompson's. And Comte could match anything that Erlache did away from the safety car. He was so close behind him, he could literally have been gaffer taped to the back bumper. And the Honda could not get away. Now, the question is, with Comte in front, will Jimmy T be able to stay with him? Thompson has to be as close as he possibly can. Oriola now starting to close up. And Aurélien Comte's experience with this Peugeot, not in TCR form so much, but when it was being raced as a cup car and when he's been developing it, showing that he's now working really hard to get temperature in the front tyres. There's Aurélien Panis. Another disappointing race for him. Safety car has pulled in. Green flag will wave as they exit the next turn, the Ari Luijendijk corner, named after the famous Indy 500 winner. And Comte is gone. Look at the way the Peugeot lights up away from a rolling start. James Thompson was not caught napping, just the Honda had nothing to offer the Peugeot, and that's why the Peugeot was all over the back of Erlache at the restarts. Erlache diving down inside Pepe Oriola, couldn't get an overlap. Gordon Shedden couldn't get an overlap there on Mehdi Bernani, but Bernani had to wobble into the middle of the roads to try and defend. And Esteban Guerrieri, he is right behind them, but again Bernani drifts a little wide. That's where Huff's Golf stepped away from him in his fast qualifying lap and essentially pretty much cost him pole position. Looks like the Golf maybe a little bit light on its rear tyres, Matt, not getting the heat in early away from the restart.
Look at him. Flash is nibbling at the back of him, but Bernani's he's struggling a bit there. He's hanging on at the moment.
Yeah, barely, isn't he? It looks a real handful on colder tyres, let's say.
You've just seen him. I mean, he's the proper cork in the bottles, and now there's a queue forming behind him.
Yeah,
which
so
Flash is the lead car. So Flash needs to be careful. He needs to do him in the next lap or so. Otherwise, he's going to start people having the nibble at the back of him.
On board with Tom Coronel, now up to 16th. Ivan Muller in front of him in 15th, but pulling away. And Tom Coronel reporting an oil pressure warning light on the dash. Reset the gauges, and the team telling him to carry on unless it comes back.
That's not a brilliant sign with Tom slowing as well. It's normally a bit of a writing on the wall at the engines.
Yeah, but you see, Ted Bjerg normally would have been by him in a heartbeat.
Ooh, the Hyundai. Who's that? Bjerg?
No, it's Muller in front.
Is it?
Ooh.
Oh, it is Muller in front. What happened there?
Well, I don't know, but I'm sure we'll find chapter and verse from Ivan Muller fairly soon. And again, for third place, Pepe Oriola clinging on. Don't forget, he was second in the reverse grid race at the Nordschleife, starting on the reverse pole position. So another podium in consecutive weekends for Pepe Oriola and the Cupra would be a big boost for his points as well. I think much chance of him being a championship contender has gone unless suddenly the Cupra really comes alight, but it is definitely a more comfortable car to watch this weekend and last than it was early in the season.
It's great also to see Lachey in a proper competitive car this year. He's, you know, after struggling in the Lada last year, he's up there and he's just proving it, because he's still only 21, 22 years old.
Yep, exactly right. And he's got lots of pace. Oh, and Prince Bernhard von Oranje has a grassy moment, cutting his own lawns, man who owns the track. So the Prince was 22nd behind Michael Verhagen and ahead of Ivan Muller and Norbert Mikulits in their Hyundais. Not bad for a wild card, but it does show where the Hyundais find themselves in terms of pace. So we have now completed, we have to scroll the screen up, and we are now on lap 9 of 14. Now the graphic comes back just as we've done the donkey work. So time for Flash to settle down, keep the pressure up on Bennani, more in hope than anticipation, and then maybe try and save something for the last lap or two. Now James Thompson, for the first time, starting to move around behind Aurélien Comte. So at the moment, Thompson looking for the lead. Behind him, Lachey looking for third from the grey car of Pepe Oriola. And behind Gordon Shedden, Esteban Guerrieri hoping to move up to 6th position. That's where All Inkle Motorsport are, or Munich Motorsport are, with their Hondas at the moment. In fact, they have the only Hondas in the top 10, because the next Honda is Benjamin Lessen, and his car is in 12th. Boots and Gignon teammate Tom Coronel in 15th, and potentially with an engine problem that he's managing. A big slide from Bernani.
Does that give him Shedden the edge?
Yeah.
He's just got the inside.
Over the brow into Skyfluck, and you can imagine from that slide, and that one from Shedden as they turn onto the newer part of the track, relatively newer anyway. Ooh, down the inside of Gordon Shedden. That was Esteban Guerrieri, and through he goes. Guerrieri saw the opportunity.
Guerrieri the run on him.
So Guerrieri got through, and now Rob Huff is right behind Gordon Shedden, car number 52. There's Ivan Muller. Investigations under the bonnet. Did he slide on his own oil? Is that something that's going on there? Now then, can Shedden follow Guerrieri and allow the Argentine to unlock Mehdi Bennani? Maybe they can both go through. And that'll be then position neutral for Gordon Shedden, but no actual advantage.
He should have been another place further up the road rather than that. His problem now is he's got Huff on his tail, and Huff's a strong car this weekend.
Yeah, the big drama almost lost Mehdi Bennani his spot, but he somehow clung on to a top 5 position. Now Guerrieri right behind him. Denis Dupont sends it down the inside of Benjamin Lessen, and through he goes. Now that is your classic Tarzan pass. Get the driver in front to defend down the straight. He goes out onto the racing line, and then you throw it down the inside. The other way, with a good slipstream, is to sit alongside him as he hogs the inside line and then go around the outside, and that works as well. And if Lessen thought that it was all over there, he's wrong, because the predominantly white Audi behind him of Nat Berton also wants a place. Oriola still third from the red, white and black car of Jan Lachey. Lachey's mum, Kathy Muller, at the track this weekend, as she was last weekend at the Nordschleife. watching proceedings.
This leading quartet just showing how difficult it is really to pass around here. If you don't make any mistakes, you can hold your car tight. Both Cont and Oriola doing a great defensive job over both the pair of all-inkle cars.
Well, listen, Matt, you've led races, you know, many times over the years in a car that was, you know, only equal to something else, and being able to hold a position is as much a part of the racing driver's art as being able to take a position, isn't it?
I'm saying that, Cont's just managed to get some fresh air between him and Tomo. So
yep. Out to half a second the lead.
A bit of space. He could be staring at a race win here.
Here comes El Haché. And Oriola's going to have to flinch at some stage. There he goes. El Haché sends him down the inside, and he's going to sit it out around the outside. That's ballsy stuff from El Haché. He's still there. He doesn't quite have the advantage to hold the overlap. Yes, he does. He's still there. No. If you can just keep a tiny overlap and deny the driver the chance to move over, then they're offline in the next brow, and they're offline here, and it finally can pay off. You've got the inside into Hugenholtz, but Oriola just muscled his way back in, risking spinning across the nose of the Honda. Luckily, El Haché just gave him enough room to survive.
Your move didn't work, Martin.
It does work. And again, if Oriola had broken a little earlier for the inside line, then there wouldn't have been quite that overlap for El Haché. And El Haché is now really piling the pressure on, trying to go around the outside.
No, he can't.
Well, that was
Oriola's just driving around the inside of the track.
Yeah. But Oriola is struggling for tyres now at the front end, and El Haché is not. El Haché is pushing Oriola to try and get him out of the way, because Oriola is slowing up. Now, is there a problem with the Cupra, or has he just run out of grip? El Haché is there. He's through into third. How a steward's going to see that?
Well,
Lord only knows.
To me, that's Oriola just driving like a... well...
And now, Pepe Oriola has got to be very careful not to shunt El Haché out of the race. He's got Mehdi Benani right behind him, and, you know, we've been saying for several laps he's holding up the rest of the field. And now he's backed everybody up to Benani. So Benani's now in trouble because he's got a slow Oriola in front of him. Is Pepe going into the pits? He's not. What has he got to say to the team?
Stretch his legs now.
Okay, I'm not sure what he's saying. So they're just telling him to be careful about Benani and not to... presumably he's having a long rant about Jan El Haché on the radio. But El Haché just had no option almost, because Oriola is definitely slower. Aurélien Cont leads from James Thompson. Jan El Haché, the race one winner yesterday, is back in third. Head of Oriola, Benani, Guerrieri and Shedden, and Huff can't catch. And behind Rob Huff, the reason Huffy can't catch is Frederick Vervisch. And Vervisch has clearly shown this weekend he's got pace. And here comes Shedden down the inside of Guerrieri into Sky Flak. Oh, that's a brave move as well. And he stays there. And Guerrieri and Shedden give each other just enough racing room. But the Honda is very strong at the end of the race, and now Huff's right there with them.
Yeah, Flash caught him napping there as he was eyeing up Benani. But going back to what the Oriola El Haché, Oriola was just doing the typical young driver, just driving in his mirror, trying to do anything to stay in front, not knowing when to concede a corner.
Well, so Gordon Shedden moves back up now to sixth position. So for Munich Motorsport, Thompson is in second, El Haché in third, and Guerrieri down to seventh. So it's a net gain of 1 place for Munich and a net loss of 1 place for Munich. Aurélien Cont leading onto the final lap of the race. Now, there are words that I'm not sure Eric Neve thought we'd be saying at any stage in this European campaign. And it's all arms and elbows behind. Vervisch having a think about Thompson. Denis Dupont, if he sends it from that far back past John Philippi, then he'll be in a different postcode by the time they both land. So Denis Dupont with the yellow highlights and his Audi too far back. Gordon Shedden has eased away immediately from Esteban Guerrieri and right back onto the tail of Mehdi Benani. Did he keep his tyres fresh for the last couple of laps? Is that why he had something to get by Guerrieri? Can he do the same on Benani? This is where it's going to happen. Over the brow into Skyflag. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Piling the pressure on. He's got two wheels on the curb. Shedden's on the inside. There's your leader. Didn't get through. Benani managed to hold it together and didn't have the big slide of 3 or 4 laps ago. But I think Shedden might have a lunge before the end of the lap.
Yeah, Flasher's got the pace. He's now figuring out the places where he can attack. He's obviously new to the circuit, as a lot of them are, but he's Comp's on the way to the win.
Comp is on the way to winning in the Peugeot.
Victory.
James Thompson, his best result of the season, 2nd place. Teammate Yann Aleshet in 3rd. It's another double podium for Munich Motorsport. Pepe Oriola in 4th, creeping away as Mehdi Benani reels under pressure again from Gordon Shedden down into the Audi S for the final time. And there is no more opportunity, I think, for Shedden. And Aleshet goes by Thompson. And you know why Aleshet goes by Thompson? Because Jimmy is not going to be a champion this year, and Yann might. And that is a very gentlemanly gesture from James Thompson. But Aurélien Comte wins for Peugeot. I repeat, Aurélien Comte wins for Peugeot. Yann Aleshet 2nd, James Thompson in 3rd, and Pepe Oriola in 4th place ahead of Mehdi Benani, Gordon Shedden, Esteban Guerrieri, Rob Huff, Frederick Vervish, Jean-Philippe Dupont. I mean, they just stream across the line in one large bunch. And in fact, the biggest gap in the field, pretty much on the penultimate lap, was the 2nd between Aurélien Comte and James Thompson, 1st to 2nd. The good news is Peugeot have won their first race. The good news is OFFICAL have 2 cars on the podium again. And the best news of all is Alex Le Gouy, French surname, has to go and interview Aurélien Comte, French surname, in French, because his English won't stand a winner's interview. Eric Nev will go down, hopefully, to translate, because Aurélien Comte, for the very first time, will be heading into Victory Circle as a race winner in the FIA World Touring Car Cup.